This is an AMCI Mini by Mrs. J in partnership with AAPC.
There is a coding convention, and that convention when coding E&M encounters is you can only code one E&M code per doctor per day. That's it. You can only code one E&M code per doctor per day, except critical care and prolonged services. Yes. You see the circle with the X? That means it's incorrect to say. The new saying is one E&M code per doctor per day except PICS. Yes, PICS. And we've changed our method. AMCI has moved away from the definition or the saying one E&M code per doctor per day except critical care and prolonged services. We don't say it because it is not comprehensive enough. So in 2017, or from this moment on, 2016 on, we say one E&M code per doctor per day except PICS. Now, for those of you that are new to coding, and you may not even know what I'm talking about, again, the convention means that you can only assign one E&M code per doctor per day. That's it. Except with a PICS. And yes, PICS is PPICCS. And then we've condensed it to PICS. So PICS is spelled PICS from here on. Now you need to know, what is PICS? PICS is the acronym for prolonged services, preventive medicines, initial nursing visit after a discharge, critical cares, care managements, and standby services. And just so you know, the S in the parentheses means that there are several types of preventive medicines. There are several types of critical cares, and there are several types of care managements. And when we refer to standby services, anytime the physician is standing by. Okay, so if a physician is in attendance, that all is covered or understood that it is a standby service. So all of these encounters, when performed or incurred on the same day as another E&M encounter by the same physician, in other words, a physician may admit a patient, then perform prolonged service. It can on the same day, then you can code them both. All right. So how do you, as a coder, how do you identify in your book which codes are PICS and which are not? Well, let me show you. All right, here we go. Let's evaluate a couple of the PICS. All right, I just want to demonstrate with a PICS that we're familiar with. We are familiar with prolonged services. And how do we know this is a PICS? Very simply. If you look at the green verbiage, it's in between the inverted triangles. It tells you this service is reported. Okay, that is not a good highlight, but we're going to move on. It's reported in addition to the primary procedure, example, the designated evaluation and management services. All right, that's not a good highlight, but at least you know where it is on the page. We know this is a PICS because of the verbiage in the guidelines. All right, everybody. So what I've done was I have developed an annotation method for you to identify which codes are PICS, and you should be able to do it very quickly. All right, here we go. And how I do that is by placing a red star next to the chapter and the code, like this. The Prolonged Services chapter has a red star, and I've even documented the word PICS next to it. Then I went to each code in that code series and I put a red star. So any code within the series or under that category gets a red star. And then also, prolonged services, it continues. The whole chapter of prolonged services are PICS. So I placed PICS right at the red bold, and then I put the red star next to each code. And prolonged services even continues on subsequent pages. I placed PICS at the top next to the heading and red stars on the subsequent pages. Now, what I'm going to do after this slide, I'm going to take you into my electronic CPT manual, and we're going to take a few chapters of codes that are PICS. And you know what else I've done? I've outlined every single code that I feel are PICS, and it's just me, Mrs. J, are PICS, and I've put them on a table and you can see it at the end of this presentation. So make sure you press pause and document those code series that are PICS. I've even indicated the page numbers for you to easily reference, and these page numbers are 2016 CPT manual codes. 2017, just go ahead and follow the code series and you should be fine. All right, here we go for the demonstration. I know I told you I would show it to you at the end of the presentation, but I want you to get a glimpse of it now. This is the, I guess, at a glance view of all of the PIPs, all of them. You have prolonged services, the code series, and page numbers, preventive medicine, initial nursing, care management, case management, critical cares, and standby services. I want you to see it because I want to show you where I'm going to demonstrate my ebook. The initial nursing, I'm going to demonstrate that because it's a little different. So the next screen, you'll see my initial nursing visit. Again, we're going to begin with the initial nursing facility care because it is a PICS. And the reason why I say it's not as common as the others is because the circumstance in which you can apply the PICS is very limited. And I wish I had a highlighter, but I do have my pointer. And the circumstance which qualifies initial nursing visit as a PICS is when a patient has discharged from the hospital, either the hospital or observation, and then they are admitted or readmitted into the nursing facility, then it's a PICS. All right, so the initial nursing visits are PICS only when the patient has been discharged from the hospital or observation unit. Okay, the guideline is here. All right, it tells you that on the same day as the nursing facility admission or readmission, you can report it separately. So make sure you highlight this verbiage, this guideline, and you're all set. Place the word PICS here with a red star, and then your codes 99304, your red star, and then 99305, it's your other, you put another red star there, and then on the subsequent page, you put a red star next to 99306. Okay, now do not go beyond the initial nursing visits because it only applies to the initial, that's the I in PICS. When you're down here in the subsequent, that would be incorrect. Okay. Okay, so finally, I did say that I would show you the my at a glance PICS list. I don't have a formal name for it, so we're going to call it PICS List. We have prolonged services, preventive medicines. Pay attention. Not only is preventive medicine a visit, but or a general visit, but visits for counseling. And here are the code series as well as the page numbers. Remember, we just looked at initial nursing only with discharge. Make sure you document that because you can code it in addition to an E&M code. Your case managements, let me just say that what they are. Your domiciliary rest homes, example, your assisted living facility or home care. Your key word is care. Plan oversight services, care plan oversight, chronic care management, complex chronic care management, transitional care, advanced care planning. So your key word is care. And if you don't have an opportunity, you didn't have an opportunity to, document your picks, your key word is going to be care. Case management, that's your coagulant management. Medical team conferences, that falls under your case management. So anytime you see conferences or management, those are your keywords. Your critical cares, and they're all listed here. Your standby services, your standby, of course, and your delivery, birthing, attendance, and resuscitation codes. There you go. All right, everyone. So just pause the screen, make sure that you document that these are pics, and most important, remember, one E&M code per doctor per day, except pics. That's the new saying. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching.